We cannot hear you, Mrs.
Can you hear me now? I think that was a network problem.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you very much.
So is it possible you display your slide from your hand?
Okay, let me try to do that.
Or just continue, ma. I was thinking it's quite sandy on your cap there, so you can continue, ma. We'll handle it from it.
All right. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. Thank you. So I was talking about the question techniques, and we started with the direct question method, in which students are required to give answers gotten from the passage to the question. So like I said for a student to do well in this aspect of questions, you should read the question very carefully. Then you locate the answer to the question in the passage. Like I said, the question is usually found in the passage. And then the third thing to do is to answer as clearly as possible. So I'll be giving examples of some questions that follow the direct question technique. So we have question 1, who founded the city of Moravia? And then the answer we have here is the American Colonization Society. Another question, how did the old woman feel after being reunited with her lost son? And then the answer is simple enough, she was overjoyed. So I will be sharing a sample passage with us that I want students to read. It won't take much of your time. You have to read, and then you type in your answers to the question. That will be the next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right, so we have a sample passage here. Bendu's life was forever changed by the civil war in Liberia. She lost her brother Benji and her grandmother, Granny May, and was separated from her daughter. Despite facing numerous challenges, Bendu found strength in her faith and her community. With the help of her friends and family, she was eventually reunited with her daughter. So I have 4 questions here. I would like you students to read and provide your answers using the chat box. So question 1, what event had a profound impact on Bendu's life? Number 2, who did Bendu lose during the Civil War? Question 3, what helped Bendu find strength during the difficult times? And question 4, what was the joyful outcome for Bendu? So students should please read the passage and put their answers in the chat box. All right, I'm still waiting for your responses, for your answers, students. The passage is displayed on your screen, so you can read the passage again and provide your answers.
We have to tell you, you have to send me.
I can see Ake Kamilowo. Your answer is not correct. Okay, we have I got the correct answer now for question 1. Someone says the civil war in Liberia. That is correct for question 1. So for question 2, who did Bendu lose during the Civil War? I'll appreciate your answers to question 2. Your answer to question 2. Who did Bendu lose during the Civil War? Someone said Brother Benji. No, that is not how you will have to compose your answer. All right. She lost her brother Benji and her grandmother, Granny May. Thank you. That's correct. Then the third question: what helped Bendu find strength during the difficult times? Please turn in your answers. What helped Bendu find strength during the difficult times? Thank you, Favoshitu. Her faith and her community. That's correct. Her faith and her community. Then question 4. What was a joyful outcome for Bendu? I'm waiting for your answers to question 4, please. What was a joyful outcome for Bendu? Yes. Favor Shitu, thank you very much. You gave us the correct answer to question 3 and 4. Being reunited with her daughter. So let me share my answers with you from here. Next slide, please, so you can compare with yours. All right, number 1, the civil war in Liberia. Number 2, her brother Benji and her grandmother Granny May. Number 3, her faith and her community. And number 4, being reunited with her daughter. So you will realize that these 4 answers are the details that we got from the passage. So like I said, the direct question method, you don't need to bring external points as your answers. The answers are found in the passage. Then we move to the next method of question, which is the quotation question technique. And in this type of question, you are required to find in the passage and quote a specific word or phrase or sentence from the passage. Now, when you are faced with this type of question, you must remember to use the quotation marks at the beginning and the end of your quote. That is a proof that you have quoted from the passage. Then you should ensure that your quote is accurate. And number 3, you only include the quoted text. So if you include anything that should not be part of the quote, then you will be hindering your chances at scoring good marks there. So I have an exercise for you again. Here there is a part of the passage posted here. The city of Monrovia, Liberia is a place of resilience and hope. Despite facing many challenges, the city's residents remain optimistic about their future. The residents know that the city may be scarred, but its spirits remain unbroken. The question is this: quote a part of the passage that shows the resilience of Monrovia. Again, I would want you to use the chat box in telling me your answers. The question requires that you quote a part of the passage that shows the resilience of Morovia. Pay attention to the tips I gave you earlier. Said you have to use the quotation marks at the beginning and the end of your quote. Ensure that your quote is accurate and include only the quoted text. So I am waiting for your answers, and let us be fast with that. The passage is on your screen now. It's on your screen. So quote a part of the passage that shows the resilience of Morovia. Mahmoud Dauda, you said the city's residents remain optimistic about their future. No, that is not the correct answer. And even if it was the correct answer, you did not include your quotation marks. I'm yet to get a correct answer. Thank you, Akeola. But its spirits remain unbroken. Thank you very much. That was correct. Thank you. And I can see that you used your quotation marks. Yes. Favor Shitu, no, you have quoted a part that is not necessary to be in that quote, but its spirits remain unbroken. Thank you. So we move to the next question technique, and this is on grammatical name and function. The question that tests your knowledge of grammatical names and function. So for this kind of question, you are required, number one, to identify the grammatical name of a highlighted part of a sentence in the passage. And then you are also to explain the function of the identified grammatical name within the sentence. So it's two-way part. You have it, Roman figure 1, identify. So the part of the passage, a particular part of the passage will be highlighted. So you have to identify the grammatical name. And then you have to explain the function of that identified grammatical name within the sentence. So you have to go back to the passage. You consider the entire sentence from which the highlighted part is taken from for you to be able to know the function. Now, to answer questions on grammatical names and function, I would advise that you use these tips. Number one, identify if the expression is a phrase or a clause. And how do you know that? Simply look for the presence of a finite verb that will make it, the expression, a clause. And if there is no finite verb there, then you know you are dealing with a phrase. So if there is a verb in the expression, confirm that the verb is finite. And how do you know that? If it is finite, it will be controlled by tense, by number, and by subject. Then after you have identified if it is a phrase or a clause, you proceed to identify what work or what function the expression does within the sentence from which it is taken. So you'll be able to know if you're dealing with a noun phrase or a noun clause, or an adverbial phrase or adverbial clause, or an adjectival phrase or adjectival clause. So you should remember that a noun phrase or a noun clause can function as a subject of the verb, the object of the verb, the object of a preposition, can function as complement or in apposition. Then if you're dealing with an adjectival phrase or clause, it should qualify a noun or a pronoun or a noun clause or noun phrase. Then if you're dealing with an adverbial, you know it will modify verbs. So I have an exercise for you again. I want us to try some expressions that have been extracted from past questions. So I would like the screen to be shared. So while we are waiting for that, you can jot down the question. So the first sentence: the lockdown, which lasted for 3 months, changed her life completely. the lockdown, which lasted for 3 months, changed her life completely. So please highlight which lasted for 3 months. And then using the chat box, you tell me the grammatical name and the grammatical function. So I'll take that sentence again. The lockdown, which lasted for 3 months, changed her life completely. So you are to highlight which lasted for 3 months. The lockdown, which lasted for 3 months, it's displaying on the screen now. The lockdown, which lasted for 3 months, changed her life completely. So I said you should highlight which lasted for 3 months. Then you give the grammatical name as well as the grammatical function. Therefore, sentence 2, you have, before I could recover from the shock, he took out some currency notes. Before I could recover from the shock, he took out some currency notes. Then the third one, a candidate, okay, for question 2, the highlighted part is before I could recover from the shock. Then for question 3, a candidate in the examination hall is a close cousin of a boxer in the ring. Then the highlighted part is a candidate in the examination hall. Please do not just dump your answers. Let us know the question you are responding to. So if you're responding to question 1, tell us the grammatical name as well as the grammatical function. So I'll take 2 at a time. All right, I think I have the answers. I saw an answer, a correct answer here. Which lasted for 3 months. Question 2, before I could recover from the shock. And question 3, the candidates in the examination hall. So I can see tons of answers here. All right, to save our time, just let's compare your answers with mine. So I'll move to the next slide so you can confirm if your answers are correct or wrong. Next slide, please. All right, so the answers are displayed on the screen. So I would like you to mark your answers. Let's know if you got it right or wrong. So number 1, which lasted for 3 months, is an adjectival or relative clause. So if you said relative clause, you are correct. If you said adjectival, you are equally correct. So it's an adjectival clause, a relative clause. And the function, it qualifies the noun lockdown. Therefore, question 2, before I could recover from the shock, your answer should be adverbial clause. Then the function is that it modifies the verb took out. Then for your question 3, your answer should be a noun phrase, subject of the verb is. So did you get the answers correct? All right, I'm sure it will be displayed again for you to confirm your answers. Then quickly, I want us to move to questions testing our knowledge of literary terms and idiomatic expression. That is the next question technique. So for this type of question, you are required to identify the literary term or device used in a highlighted expression. And you are also, you may be required to explain the meaning of an idiomatic expression. So you need to, have a number of idiomatic expressions. You should know them. You should also know your literary terms. So I have an exercise for you again, and let us be fast about it. So I would appreciate if that is also displayed on the screen, but then I would give you from here. So I have an exercise here. The many instances of corruption left Ghana's economy in shambles. You may have to write that. The many instances of corruption left Ghana's economy in shambles. And the highlighted part is in shambles. The question, what is the meaning of the idiomatic expression highlighted? In shambles. Use the chat box, please, in giving me your answers. The many instances of corruption left Ghana's economy in shambles. The many instances of corruption left Ghana's economy in shambles. So you are to give the meaning of the idiomatic expression in shambles. So I am waiting for your answers. In shambles, what does it mean? Then you have another question there. The city of Jos rose from the ashes like a phoenix. The city of Jos rose from the ashes like a phoenix. So what literary term is used in that expression, and what does it mean? So I
hope you can see the screen.
Yes, yes. It's the slide is displayed on the screen. So Oluyomi Janet, irony is not an idiomatic expression. Okay, disorder. Now I thank you. I need you to put your answers as though you were writing the examination. Don't just dump answers. All right, I can see your answers. You can keep your answers coming. Thank you, Ruins. But you know you are not to dump the answers. Let your answers make sense. All right, thank you. So let me give you the answers here. I can see some answers in the chat box. So let's find out if you got it right or wrong. So the answer to number 1 is, it means to be in a state of complete destruction or disorder. Mind you, you should not, it's not compulsory for you to use the word destruction or disorder. I'm just giving you a hint as to what your answers should look like. It means to be in a state of complete destruction or disorder. Thank you. And number 2, number 2 is a 2-part question. So the first part, you are identifying the literary term, the figurative expression. So that is simile. And then what does it mean? Now, when you have what does it mean? It does not, we are not asking you to define or explain what simile is. We're asking you for the meaning of that expression. And within the sentence you are given, it shows the city's rising or the city's rebirth. Thank you very much. So we'll move to the next question technique, which is the word replacement technique. And in the word replacement technique, you are required to identify some highlighted words in the passage, and then you are to provide suitable synonyms or replacement that maintains the original meaning and context for each word. So I'll give you a tip to follow in answering this type of question. You must remember the MCTN principle. M for meaning. So your replacement should convey the exact meaning of the highlighted word. It should convey the same meaning. Then for class, you maintain the same word class. you maintain the same word class. So if the original word is a noun, your answer should be a noun. If it is an adjective, your answer should be same. So, and that holds true for each of the word classes. So for tense, if the word is a verb, you maintain the tense used in the original word. The number also, if the word is in singular or plural, your replacement should follow same. So let's consider the exercise that will be displayed on the screen. I'll read it from here as well. Her grandfather's life was forever changed by the devastating civil war in Nigeria. Her grandfather's life was forever changed by the devastating civil war in Nigeria. So you are to find replacements for devastating and war. Now, before you turn in your answers, just try to remove the original word and slot in your own answer. Slot in your own answer. So I need your replacement for devastating, as used in the passage, and war. So for, okay, Funke Ako, war, battle, that is correct. Crisis, conflict, that is Victoria, that is correct. Devastating, you cannot use destruction for devastating, no. It should be destructive. Okay, thank you. Keep your answers coming. Thank you. So I can see answers for devastating. Okay, what about your answers for war? So remember, I told you to slot in your own answers. Okay, somebody is requesting that the slide be shared. They said her grandfather's life was forever changed by the devastating civil war in Nigeria. So let me, okay, it's displayed on the screen now. Yes, her grandfather's life was forever changed by the devastating civil war in Nigeria. All right, thank you. I can see your answers. All right, next slide, please. Let's see some likely answers. So for devastating, okay, we have destructive, catastrophic, ruinous, disastrous, and shattering. Then for war, we have conflicts, battle, combat, strife, fighting, hostilities, and clash. So somebody said, what means fighting against one another? Please, I told you, your answer should just be one word, one word. Don't explain, don't define, just one word that can replace. One word that can replace. All right, so we have considered the question techniques for comprehension. I think it is also good for you to know some of the penalties for errors in comprehension, so that when you are writing your answers, yes, you will be mindful of the fact that your errors will be penalized, right? So for any grammatical or expression error you make, half a mark will be deducted. So you cannot just afford to write your answers carelessly. Then when you give two answers to a question, and one part of the answer, one of the answers is incorrect, you'll be awarded 0 mark. So be careful. And then where you have to replace selected words, just like I said earlier, your answers must fit in perfectly, or you will be awarded 0 marks. Then you should remember that in comprehension, your answers need not be written in sentences unless otherwise stipulated. And an answer taken as a whole must make sense before any part of it. So I'm going to say something about this. So sometimes you have students copying from the passage word for word, and then you don't even know what to copy. You copy recklessly, and then one part of the answer will be correct, the other parts will be incorrect. And when you have such case, everything the whole answer will be taken as incorrect. So if you want the answer to be marked, graded as correct, then everything must make sense. So, dear students, let me share my final thoughts with you before I entertain a few questions. So you are advised to do the following after writing your answers. You should review your questions and answers to ensure that the questions have been answered correctly and your answers have been well structured. So there is no point, no sense spending so much time reading and thinking you have answered correctly if you're not going to be paying attention to your answers. Then you must verify that your answers are relevant to the questions that have been asked. And lastly, you must review your answers to correct any grammatical errors and to ensure clarity. Thank you. So I'll entertain your questions, please.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sarowolo. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. And I'm pretty sure that our students are now versed in the art of answering comprehension questions at all levels. Now we're going to entertain the questions. If you have any question, do not raise your hand. All those who have raised their hands should put down their hands. Put your question in the chat box. Do not raise your hand. If your hand is up now, put it down. I can still see some of you raising your hands. Put your hand down. Put your hands down and ask you don't need to say, ma, just go right ahead and put your question in the chat box. Bring your questions. Please make sure you are asking questions that are relevant to this topic. Ask questions that are relevant. Somebody is asking about essay, another person is asking about summary. Today we are on comprehension. So please ask your questions on what you have been taught this morning. All right, let me just read out some of the questions I've been able to get down to Mrs. Arowolo.
All right, ma'am.
Some asking for tips on comprehension, and that is what she has just taught you. So what that means is that you were not listening. She has just taught you tips on comprehension. You're asking her, what are the tips on comprehension? It simply shows you were not listening. You did not pay attention. And we have said that you should pay attention when any of the facilitators are teaching you. So let me go to the questions. One said, how can I identify adjectival, adverbial, noun clauses and phrases? Another one said, can you start answering comprehension questions with a pronoun? Another one said, why should comprehension questions not be answered in sentences? So, Ms. Arowolo, over to you. Ms. Arowolo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so please.
The question on if it is appropriate or if it is acceptable to use a pronoun in answering comprehension. Yes, it is acceptable. Yes. Then for the question on the types of phrases and clauses, how to distinguish between a phrase and a clause, I said it the other time. I said what you need to do is to check for the presence or the absence of a finite verb. So we have, in SS1, we taught you that a phrase is a group of words that lacks a finite verb. So once you don't have a finite verb there, then you know you are dealing with a phrase. But if you have a finite verb there, then you are dealing with a clause. And then the next thing is for you to identify what type of phrase or clause are you dealing with. So usually in the subject, object, position, you have the nominals there. That is where you have the noun phrase, the noun clause. Then for the adjunct position, the adverbial position, that is where you have the adverbial. Then how do you know if you're dealing with an adjectival phrase or adjectival clause? Within the sentence from which that expression has been taken from, there should be a noun that the adjectival is describing. Then we go back to the exercise that we tried. We said the lockdown, which lasted for 3 months, changed our life completely. So, which lasted for 3 months. If you remove it, if we delete that from that sentence, we're going to have the lockdown changed her life completely. So, in giving, in describing the lockdown, they will say the lockdown which lasted for 3 months. So, for every adjectival, also have to locate the noun that it is describing. And then I think one thing I should emphasize is that when it comes to identifying the function of the grammatical name, please, the function, you cannot get the function from the highlighted expression. You have to consider the entire sentence for you to know the function. So we have cases where somebody says, for instance, we say, oh, okay, this expression is okay, let me use the one on the adverbial. So before I could recover from the shock, he took out some currency note. And then highlighted part is before I could recover from the shock. So you see, could recover, then you know we are dealing with, there is a finite verb there. So it's a clause that we are dealing with, a adverbial clause. So you have the correct answer for the first part. Now the second part, you cannot say that it modifies the verb could recover. No, you have to go back to the entire sentence to look for the main verb that controls the entire sentence for you to know the function, what word modifying there, right? Okay. An example here. I have a sentence here. One who stammers could be dangerous. One who stammers could be dangerous. And who stammers is underlined, highlighted. Who stammers? One who stammers could be dangerous. So who stammers there is highlighted. There is a finite verb there, which is stammers. And then the highlighted expression is introduced with a relative pronoun. That is number one. Number two, you see that it's also describing the one who could be dangerous. So that you are dealing with an adjectival clause there. So for the grammatical function, you say that it qualifies the pronoun one. All right, thank you. So
Thank you.
I don't know if there's any other questions.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to just tell our students that they should, of a necessity, practice these comprehension passages. Go through your past question papers and practice these questions copiously, because that is when you will have a hang of it. Because some of the questions you are asking here, some of you are asking, what is an idiomatic expression? Give me examples of idiomatic expressions. At this stage, you should have at your fingertips different examples of idiomatic expressions, because there is no way you can run away from such expressions in the examination. If you don't get them in your comprehension, you'll get them in summary. If you don't get them in summary, you meet them in essays, because they might just give you one and ask you to write a story on it. So you need to be familiar with them. And somebody asked if you can do mindless lifting. No, you cannot do mindless lifting. It is best to use your own words when you are answering the question. So Mrs. Arowolo, we want to thank you once again for this wonderful job you've done this morning. And I'd like the students to applaud her by sending their emojis of flowers, of claps, thumbs up, and what have you. Thank you. Session. Quickly. So you can send your emojis to appreciate Mrs. Arowolo for a beautiful job she's done this morning. That's awesome. Okay. So right about now, we are going quickly into the second session, and this session is all about oral English. And I know many of you are scared about how to identify the sounds when they are transcribed, or how to identify rhymes or the stress patterns in words. But one thing you should know that it's quite easy if you pay attention to this class and if you listen attentively to the facilitator. So I'm going to call on Mrs. Akibu, who is going to take us on practicing oral English for SSCE paper 3. Mrs. Akibu, are you there, please? Mrs. Akibu, are you in the house?
Yes, I am, please. I am.
Oh, you're welcome. So the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Please, you need to be audible.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, students. Good morning, facilitators, and good morning, Mrs. CJ and Mr. Lamide. Good morning. Mr. Lamide, please, I'm having issues with my screen. There's a lot popping up.
Okay, can you stop? Please stop your emojis now so that you can pay attention. Hello, students. Stop all the emojis now. Thank you. Thank you. Stop sending emojis.
I control everything from here, ma. Don't worry.
Okay, okay, thank you. So Mrs. Akibu has the floor now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Lembe. I hope you have my. I suppose you have my slides. You could help me project on your end. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So I would be looking at the paper 3 aspect of the SSA, which is totally centered around oral English, the spoken aspect of the English language. I want to call our attention or emphasize that this aspect is very important in that it is an entire paper on its own. It's an entire paper on its own. It's not embedded in any other paper, but it's an entire paper on its own, and there are 60 questions on this aspect. But the one thing that I've discovered is that there are 40 questions that are majorly centered around sounds. 40 out of the 60 questions are centered around sounds, and that is the exact reason why it will not be possible for us to joke around this particular aspect.
Mrs.
So I'm
Akibu,
going
can
to
you
start.
please increase your voice, please?
Oh God. Okay, I'll
It's
try.
like
Thank you.
they're raising their hands and they're putting messages in the chat box that they can't hear you.
They
So
can't
kindly
hear
do
me.
that.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say that
Better.
better. Okay. So I was going to say that sorry, Mr. Lamide, the request to join is popping up on my screen. I can hardly do so much. I don't know if you can help me control that. So this paper centers around sounds. So I'm quickly going to run to the consonants and the vowel sounds. So what we call these sounds generally are phonemes. We call them phonemic symbols. And so these phonemic symbols are divided into two, divided into consonants and into vowels. So for your consonant sounds, the consonant sounds are those sounds that are produced with either total or partial obstructions in the vocal cord. I mean, in any other part of the mouth, not just the vocal cord. So when you want to pronounce the consonant sounds, you find that there is a part of your mouth touching another. And when you pronounce the vowel sound, there is no part that touches the other. Everything, the sound just comes out straight and without any obstruction. So in English, we have 24 consonant sounds. We have 24 consonant sounds, which can be divided into so many aspects. There is a table where you will, please help me go to the slide where there is that table, the consonants. Thank you. Please take a look at this table, everybody. Take a good look at this table. You will find that you will find all these sounds. If you count them, you will see they sum up to 24. Some of them are represented by the letters we are familiar with. Some of them are represented by signs that we're not so familiar with. But nonetheless, these are formed by combination of letters. All these sounds are formed by combination of letters, combination of letters. And sometimes only one sound will make one of these sounds. So, but these are not letters. I need you to know that these are not letters. These are sounds. These are phonemic symbols. So when you combine certain letters, is when you get this. For instance, if we are going to get sound, for instance, represented by letter F, we can get it from a letter F. We can get it from a letter PH, or even a GH. So it is not about the letter you are saying, it is about the sound that is pronounced. For instance, when you pronounce the word cough, you see what gives you the is a GH. And so the GH is what gives you, and so you cannot say, because you have seen GH, you want to say, okay, this should be letter G or letter G or sound go or something. You should focus more on the sound. So let me go to the next slide. So we divided these consonant sounds into various groups based on manner of articulation, place of articulation, and the state of the glottis. But most importantly, I'm going to look at the manner of articulation today. So we are looking at the plosives. I know many of you fart. You fart. You make a mess around the class, and everybody laughs. Everybody shouts. So who is that that polluted the air? But when you fart in the class, most times you dare not leave it to make a sound. Can you hear me? Jesus.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. So there are those.
Speak a bit louder.
Okay. So there are these sounds that when you make them, when you want to pronounce them, they come out suddenly. They come out suddenly. Please go to plosives, please. They come out suddenly. And when you pronounce them, it's as if there is a sudden release of air, just like when you fart and your fart sounds pa. You know, when you're in the class and your fart sounds pa, you know how everybody will be alarmed, like, excuse me, what's going on here? Exactly. That's the way these sounds are produced. So you have 6 of them. You have 6 of them in sound k, g, p, and b. So all these 6 are plosive sounds, which means that when you pronounce this, when you see these sounds in your given word, whatever sound, if these sounds come together, like there is a vowel sound in between 2 of these sounds, that sound has to be short because these sounds are very short. Let me say, for instance, we have letter P, letter P-O-T. You can see that sound P and sound, they belong to this group. So if you are pronouncing a word with letters P-O-T, that means that the vowel sound that will be in the middle of those 2 sounds will be short sounds, will have to be short. So even if it is letter O, it will be short O, like P-O-T, pot. It is short. If it is letter U, then it will be P-U-T, pot. The U will be short because these 2 sounds are very brief and short. If it is letter A, for instance, too, P-A-T, pat, that sound will have to be short because these sounds are sounds that are produced briefly and suddenly. The next is fricatives. These fricatives are those ones that are produced gradually. So the air is released gradually, and there are 8 of them. So when you say s, z, the, and sh, those sounds are released gradually. And because they are released gradually, you hardly find them with short sounds. Let me say, for instance, if you have letter, let's say letter S, letter S, letter A, letter T. Okay, if you have letter S-A-T, for instance, sat, you have sat, it will still give, the R will still be short because of the T that is at the back. That is a plosive. It will still be, the sound, that letter R, that letter A, the sound R will be short because of the plosive at the back. But if you have a word like S-O-R-T, that R will make it to become long, will make the O to become long. So you have salt, art. Is that good? So we go to the next one, which is affricates. Okay, thank you, sir. These affricates combine both the sudden and the gradual release of air. So when you say s, z, 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 of air. So, and there are just two of them, ch and j. There are just two of them. Then the next one are the nasal sounds, I suppose. Yes, the next ones are the nasals. The nasal sounds are the sounds that are produced through the nose. So if you see these three sounds, the nasal sounds, and hold your nose, you will discover that you will not be able to pronounce them. Why? Because they are produced through the nose. And as they are produced through the nose, the sounds that accompany them are sounds that the nose can equally accommodate. Let's say, for instance, I have money, money. In money, the O in money, because I have salmon nasal, salmon nasal, and I have a letter O in between, the sound that will be in between those two nasal sounds will also be one such that can pass through the nose. So I will have the sound that looks like the caveat sound in the vowel sound. When we get there, I will show you. So then we have the approximants and the laterals. The approximants are three: wo, j, and ro. And then the last one, which is the lateral, is the l sound. So let's look at this activity, everybody. The next activity page, sir. Okay. In this, oh, it's not looking underlined. Okay, we'll manage. In this exercise, in number 1, I have SK underlined. Okay, I also want to stress the reason I set this particular question is for you to know that sometimes it is not just one sound that is tested. Sometimes it's a combination of two sounds, like what we call consonant cluster. So when you have sk or st, they want to test whether you know which is which. For instance, ask and ask. Ask is not the same as ask in the sense that x and sk are not the same. Please help me project that particular exercise so that they can attempt it. And that is why I put that number 1, task. So we are looking for the word that combines that SK, that combines sound sk. Salamji, are you there, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Please, I need that page for them to attempt the exercise.
So just specify which particular one do you want to underline so that I can underline it for you.
Oh, okay. SK. Letters SK. And for number 1. Good. Hello, students. Please look at the exercise projected. Look at the exercise projected. And provide the necessary answer to number 1. Please put it in. No, don't raise your hand. Put it in the chat box, please. Put your answers in the chat box. Box.
So for number 2, what do you want to underline?
That should be ton. Sounds.
And for number 3 and 4.
Sorry, I can't access my screen. There's a lot popping out and I can't really see. Can you give me the word, please? Okay, thank you. Okay. Weather, that should be TH underlined. Number 3, TH underlined. Number 4 as well, TH underlined. Done, sir.
Okay, they could not send in their chats before now. So now you can go through the chat to check the answer.
Okay. Please don't just tell me A, B. No, give me the word. Give me the word. We are testing those letter combinations for number 1. Yes, task. Somebody said talks. Task, sk, anks. They are not the same. Okay. For question number 1, task is correct. For number 2, okay, no, it should be no, that should be knock. Knock is correct. For number 3, brother is the correct answer. And for number 4, both is the correct answer, because for number 1 we have task and the matching word is task. For number 2 we have turn. The matching word is knock. For number 3, weather. The matching word is brother. And for number 4, through. The matching word is both. Now for that TH, thank you. Thank you. I see your answers. Thank you. Ahmad Abdurrahim, correct. Aisha Tijani, correct. Okay, somebody give us the 4. Local Godwin talks. No, it's task. Knock. Yeah. Brother and both. Thank you. So let me go to the next. I just want to let me do this clarification. You see that TH? I purposely put the 2 TH questions because many a time you get mixed. They get mixed up. That is because we are Africans and we are Nigerian. We pronounce everything that we pronounce both the same way. So I want to say that the ones that you pronounce as TH, the TH you pronounce as T, for instance, your teeth is teeth. The one you pronounce as D, brother, is brother, my brother, my brother, my mother, my father. Those ones are brother. So when you are matching the words, you should pronounce it the normal way and see the word that matches each of them. So the next slide, Mr. Alamdi. We go to vowel sounds. So these vowel sounds are divided into 3 different categories. These 3 categories before now, only 2 were tested. But in recent years, diphthongs have become tested. So we have the monophthongs, we have the diphthongs, and we have the triphthongs. The monophthongs are the sounds that are just one single unit, either long or short. They are a single unit sound, while the diphthongs are 2 unit sounds. We can equally call them slides, which means that they move from one position of the mouth to another position of the mouth, or from one state of from one monophthong to another monophthong, and then those 2 are pronounced as one. Then triphthongs will now combine 3 different sounds as one. So you should be aware that there are 25 vowel sounds in English. I know that before now you may have been accustomed to 20 sounds, but please be aware that there are 25 of them, and all the 25 get tested nowadays. Excuse me. All the 25 get tested. So we're going to look at each of these sounds. There is a slide that contains the monophthongs in both short and long forms. Okay, thank you. Okay, you can see we have 7 short monophthongs and we have 5 long monophthongs. Please pay attention because there are 40 questions on this. Look at these questions. Look at these sounds. I paired them with their long variants. I paired the short and the long variants together. Those ones that have long variants, I paired them, and the ones that do not, I put them as at the bottom of the remaining of the slide. So as you can see, in number 1, I have the short E sound, which I paired with a long E sound. That's number 1. And you can see that where I have letter I for sit in the short one, I have letters EE or EA. For the long, for instance, SIT in sit, the short form, I have it as SEAT in the long form. Where we'll have BIT for the short one, we'll have BEAT for the long form. So if I want to say it, I would say sit on your seat. Sit on your seat. They're not the same. And so the letters that would give you these short E sounds are final Y, sometimes letters O, letters E, letters A, and letters UI, such as you have in build. You have in build. You have in village, baggage, women, wanted, baby, all the final Y's, monkey, money. When letter Y ends a word, it gives you this short E sound. But in the case of the long, you will have it in EE words or EY words, IE words. IE words, and there are so many exceptions like we have in sweet. This SUIET, ITE rather, if you have a dictionary, you will check. You will see it has the same spell, it has the same transcription, the same pronunciation as SWEET. The same thing goes to number 2, where we have the short R placed in between two consonants, as in pat, bag, cat, man. You will have PART to make it long in the long variant. CART instead of CAT in the long variant. SS, where you have SS following your A, it becomes the R becomes long. Or ST, after your A, it becomes the R becomes long. And that is why we have class, grass, past. But there is a word, cutlass. The examiner knows that your teacher has taught you that you have, where there is SS, the A becomes long. But please, the exception is, there's an exception with cutlass. There is ASS at the end of cutlass, but please, that sound is not long R. It's a short sound. That's a schwa sound and not a long R sound. The same thing happens to POT, POT. In the place of POT in the short, we have PORT in the long variant. And when you have WA for the short O in water, you have AW for the long O in Paul, law, Saul, and so on. Then letter L too makes it long, such as you have in talk. That talk, the L is silent. That letter L is silent. And then that letter L makes the O to become long. So you have talk, talk. Are you talking to me? Not, are you talking? It is talk. That L makes the O to be a long O. Then the same thing goes to sound O. This sound O, the short one comes in PUSA, push, PUT, put, and so on. Now, where you have PULL and you have POOL, the PULL will be short while the POOL will be long. Where you have the same thing goes to full, FULL for short, FOOL for long. Full, full, pull, pull. And then for look, LOOK, why? Because of the plosive sounds. Good, because of the plosives go and do. Would, because of the do. And then the same thing for should, for could, should, yes, could, should, would. All of them contain the short O sound. And then EW, yes, EW would always contain the long U sound. EW, few, new, still, new, few, still, and so on. Q will always contain the long U sound. Whenever you see the EW pronounced as ew, it will always contain the long U sound. Then the schwa sound, as you can see, the schwa sound is the shortest sound in English. And then when it comes at the beginning of a word, we most times don't even pronounce it. So it's a very short sound, but it appears in letter A that begins the word. It appears in letters ER and final letters OR. Now, final ER for schwa sound, but for its long variant, we have medial ER. What do I mean? If you have a word as teacher the ER comes at the end of the word. But in a word like, okay, thank you. But in a word like fan, concern, the ER comes in the middle. So when your ER appears in the middle, it will give you the long variant, that one that looks like 3 and has 2 dots at the back. That will be long A. The one in ER in the middle will give you this long S sound, while ER in the at the end of the word will give you the short schwa sound. And then the same thing for UR. When you see letters UR, purples, purple, fur, it will always give you this long S sound. Then WOR, WOR, please take note. WOR, not FOR, not DO, not any other OR, but WOR. The OR in the middle will give you this long S sound. Let's take a look at it. Word, worm, work, weld, and so on will give you this long S sound. Please take note. Fork, FORK, does not belong to this category because it is not WOR. If we are looking for the sound in FOR, in FORK, fork, that would be the long O sound, not this long S sound. Then I have the last 2 sounds for bird, leisure, pleasure, leopard, and so on. Then this one, this number 7, is pronounced R, such as we have in cup. So letter U pronounced as O will give you this number 7 sound. Letters OU, not all letter OU, but letters OU that fall in the middle of plosives. For instance, this couple, double, sound D is a plosive sound. This OU and then bo is also a plosive sound. It will give you this sound. In couple now, K is a plosive sound, po is also a plosive sound. So this OU in between will give you this this sound, couple. LOVE, OV, any OVE will give, the O will give you this sound too, such as you have in love, oven, dove, and so on. Then in touch and blood, yes, blood, flood, and so on. So let me take a look at the next slide for the exercise. Okay, I'm not done, please. Diphthongs. I go to diphthongs. Then I'll test everything all together. So for diphthongs, I said the diphthong is that sound that contains 2 units of sounds. So I would teach you this particular aspect with the use of the I, with the use of the parts of the body, human bodies. So we have the I, sound I as in your eye. I. So anything that contains I, sight, might, I'll, might, night, and so on. Then sound A for face, A, face, day, way, eight, aim. Then ow for mouth, loud, about, foul. Then ear, your ear. Please, if you're there with me, you just hold your ear and say ear. Your ear, fear, near, beer, and so on. Then sound L. Then your hair, the hair on your head, hair, my hair. Then for oi, you have boy, toy, coy, and so on. And for we have peer, leer, cute, and I mean cure, not cute, care, leer, peer, and so on. Just very few words in English. Next slide for triphthongs. Okay, there are 5 triphthongs. Please, these 5 triphthongs have been tested recently, and I know you will need it. So just please pay attention to hour, 1 hour, not one hour. So if you are looking, if you are given hour as a given word, and you're looking for hour, you're looking for wo, you pronounce it as hour, and you're looking for sound wo, you will be looking for the wrong word, because there is no wo in this word. It is simply hour. Even in flower, if you are looking for flower, and you're looking for wo, you're wrong, because you're meant to be looking for flower. Fire. No, please. You're looking for you for fire. You're wrong. You should be looking for air, not higher. That is your name, please. It is higher. And then player, not player. Don't be looking for you. It is air, player. And later, then more, not mower, not lower. Lower. Please, it is not lower. It is lower. Or an employer is royal, not royal priesthood, but royal and loyal. I hope so. Let's take the next slide for our exercise.
Mrs. Akibu, please. Mrs. Akibu, just a minute.
I can hear you, ma'am.
Mrs. Akibu, can you hear me?
I can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Please, the students should stop sending chats. Some are complaining that the chats are disturbing them from seeing the screen. So they should stop sending the chats so that you can all enjoy the lesson. Thank you. And Mrs. Akibu, please kindly try to round off in good time.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next slide, please. Let them take the next exercise. So for this next exercise, we are looking at letter O in close. We are looking at letter O. Yes, we are looking at letter O in that word, number 1. For number 2, we are looking at OE. Number 3, we are looking at letter A. And for number 4, we are looking at letter U. Please quickly turn in your answers. Look at the exercise on the screen and turn in your answers. Please don't do D. Just give me the word. Give me the right word. Clue is wrong. Please don't do B. Don't do A, D, C. No. Give me that word. I want to see the word itself. Thank you for number 1. Both is correct. For number 2, prune is the right answer. Prune, because that sound is long. The U in bush is short. So the right answer is prune. For number 3, date. The right answer is heinous. Heinous. It will sound as though it is says. No, it is not says, because says is says. It is says and not says. So the right answer is heinous. And then for number 4, it is code. Number 4 is code, because the sound is a short sound. Next slide, sir. So we are looking at rhymes. For these rhymes, we are looking at the final set of sounds, the ending set of sounds that match one another. So in this case, for rhymes, please just try and pay attention. If you have peel, P-E-L, peel, peel, styles, bile, blue, grew. So we are looking at the ending rhyme, the ending part of the word, the vowel sound that ends the word and the consonant sound. Do they sound alike? If the last two sounds match and you see three words are matching, please take it forward and let's take the next exercise for you to really understand what I mean. Next slide, Mr. Lamide. Okay. You don't need to underline anything, sir. It's just okay like this. Everybody just look at the screen. The given word is hatch. For number one, give me the word that rhymes with hatch. Yes, match. Thank you. For number two, the given word is flood. Flood. So we are looking for odd. Number two, flood. We are looking for a word that contains odd. Yes, cud. Thank you. For number three, it's cud. C-U-D, not C-U-R-D. R-U-R will give you the long S sound. So it is C-U-D, not C-U-R-D. Next, it is C-U-D, cud. Yes. Then number three, fasted. Good. Lasted. Lasted, because you are looking for stead, lasted. And for number four, please don't do C, just give me the word. Receipt. Yes, deceit. Good. Deceit, because the letter P is silent. So we are looking for a word that ends in it. Receipt, deceit. And that is the right answer. Next slide, sir.
Due to our time, I'm afraid we may have to handle because according to the
Okay. It's all
because
right.
I
Thank
know
you for
if you move on to stress pattern, it may take time. Your time already elapsed around 11:30.
Oh, I wasn't told, so I'm not aware. That's why. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Madam CJ, over to you.
Thank you. Is Mrs. Akibu working on the rhymes now?
Yes, I was working on rhymes.
Oh, please rhymes. The students will be given the recorded version to watch and learn. All you need to tell them, because you know we started late and we are running out of time, so that we can take one or two questions before you go away. Thank you. Did you get that, Mrs. Akibu?
Yes, I did. I
All
was
right, thank you.
muted.
So we can start off on rhymes so that we can, because some of the students are already shouting, "It's break time. When are we going on break?" So let's proceed with that.
I think, okay, you mean the question and answers?
No. Just round off quickly on rhymes. Let's take one or two things on rhymes. Then we go
I'm done with
to.
rhymes, actually. I
Okay,
was going to stress. I'm
sorry.
done with rhymes, actually. I was going to stress, but it's okay.
Okay, just use 2
I
minutes
just,
on stress if you can,
okay, let
quickly,
me
so
try.
that we can round
Okay,
up.
Hello,
okay.
Thank
hello.
you.
Hello,
Hello, Mr. Lamide.
Mrs. CJ. Yeah, kindly
Yes,
mute
please.
yourself, man. where you are, there's a bit of background noise. Okay, so Mrs. Akibu, is it possible to do whatever you want to do in 2 minutes, or you just send a recording of yourself having a teaching on stress patterns so that we don't have to waste too much time?
It's okay. It depends on what you want, sir. But I may not be able to do the recording today. Maybe tomorrow.
So tomorrow will be fine, man. So then we send it in.
It's okay. It's all right.
So that the students can ask questions.
It's all right. It's not problem.
So over to you, Madam Sige.
All right, Mr. Lamide, it's echoing. Can you please work on that?
From my end or from yours? Do you mean from my end or from your own end, man?
From your end and from my end, both ends. Thank you. Yes, the question we have, let me see now. Yes. Somebody asked if we can use C, the letter C in transcription. If you can use letter C in transcription. I'll leave Mrs. Akibu to answer that.
Definitely not. We cannot use letter C. There is no phonemic symbol that uses letter C. What we have for letter C is either sounds that looks like letter S or sound that looks like letter K.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to answer it because you are the one in charge. That was why I left it for you. Then another person asked the question, what's the difference between bed, B-E-D, and bed, B-I-R-D?
It's obvious. IR
Of course.
will give you the long
I just
S
want
sound.
to answer.
IR will give you the long S sound, while letter E will give you the short S sound. So they are two different things.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Akibu. I know that our students usually have problems with oral English. So please, we want to thank Mrs. Arolo and Mrs. Akibu for this, the wonderful presentations we've had today. And I want to encourage our students, you can learn more by going online. Go to YouTube, you will get some sites where they teach all these sounds, and you can practice by standing in front of a mirror and replicating the sounds you have learned. Everything is about practice, practice, practice. So if you do all these things you've been taught, I can assure you none of you will get anything less than C6 in your forthcoming examinations, because nobody is a dullard. All you need is to pay attention and read your books and practice over and again you practice. On this note, I'd like to thank Mr. Olamide Popola. I'd like to thank the able chairman of ELTAN Lagos State Chapter, and the chairman of the organizing committee, Mrs. Kausarat Subar, and all the members of the organizing committee for this wonderful webinar. And our hope and prayer is that our children will record huge success in the forthcoming examinations. Thank you and God bless you. The recorded versions will be posted on the platforms for our teachers to send the links to our students. So at your leisure, you can watch the recorded version. God bless you, and I wish you all the best in your forthcoming exams. Thank you and bye-bye. So you can send your wave emojis now and every other thing you need to send. Or Ms. Salamide, do you have any other thing to tell us? Ms. Salamide?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, can you hear me, please?
I can.
Okay, so just to inform our teachers and the students that those in arts department of arts, that is those offering literature in English, so they should anticipate most likely everything literature will have a session for literature in English. We're working on that. Then next month is World Poetry Day, March 21st. So we're going to be having a poetry challenge. And so they should just visit our social media platform and all of that.
Thank you once again. Thank you to all our teachers who have supported us in this quest for increased knowledge for our students. We pray that our efforts will not be wasted and God will crown all our efforts with success. God bless you all. Thank you and have a wonderful week ahead. Bye.
Thank you so much, Madam CJ. Really appreciate you to facilitate us.
Mo ti rò wípé